we live in a world that is very distrusting of authority figures, and for pretty good reason, actually. So people don't trust leaders in business, they don't trust political leaders, they don't trust the media. And that is potentially very dangerous for our organizations. Well, one of the things that I think is missing from a lot of organizations is collaboration. We have internal competitive dynamics. So people are formed into teams, and those teams start to compete with each other for resources, for recognition, for credit, for territory. And the whole time that they're saying, oh, it wasn't our team's fault, it was this other team, or they're pushing ownership out, accountability out onto someone else, not them, or they're trying to take credit for things that really was not all they're doing. All their focus is internal. And what senior leaders need to do is to bring the purpose of the organization to life, to encourage their people to think more like a CEO. The CEO sees the whole picture, not divided up into departments or functions. They see the organization as a holistic thing, and their attention is focused outwards. What's going on in our industry that could prevent us, or what opportunities are there that might enable us to achieve our mission, our purpose? What else is going on in the world that might impact our industry and therefore allow us to achieve our purpose? What's around the corner? What may be coming in future that might impact the context in which we operate and therefore where we're going? And if you can get your people, instead of focusing inward on competition between their colleagues or between their teams, focusing outward on the opportunities and the threats that the organization as a whole faces, then they will be able to start collaborating, because there'll be more to gain than there is to lose. I think AI is going to absolutely revolutionize business. I don't think we've really understood actually the potential disruption. And I think that there are risks to that, of course, but there's also an opportunity. The opportunity, as far as I can see, is to leverage the human capabilities of the people that work in our organization. So what we have at the moment is people spending a large amount of time doing things that are better done by a machine. And they've had to do that because we haven't had the capability in machines to do that kind of work, but we are starting to now. And yet still people are spending a huge amount of their day doing stuff that they could already delegate to some form of AI. If we start to really do that, that doesn't mean that people aren't important. It means that maybe for the first time, it's their humanity that we value the most. Their emotion, their ability to connect with themselves, with each other, in really meaningful ways with our customers and clients, their ability to wrangle with, ethical issues, for them to read between the lines, for them to create and imagine a different future. That's something that AI can't do because AI doesn't have the emotion. So what we need to do is to bring emotion into our workplaces, to create an environment in the organization where emotions can thrive, where people's creativity can thrive. And that might mean that work starts to look very, very different to the way it looks today. But what you will end up with is a more flexible, more versatile, more connected and more agile organization as a result, because people are operating in a humane environment that allows their humanity to thrive. we live in a world that is very distrusting of authority figures, and for pretty good reason, actually. So people don't trust leaders in business, they don't trust political leaders, they don't trust the media. And that is potentially very dangerous for our organizations. You cannot have a happy, healthy, innovative organization where people are willing to bring their whole selves to work and to do the very best they can in service of the organization when people don't trust. And you have to take into account that when they walk in the door, they're not a blank sheet. They're operating in a world of low trust. So the number one priority has got to be to create a trusting environment, an environment where you are worthy of trust, but also where you demonstrate that you trust people, that you trust their intent. So I would say, if you prioritize nothing else, focus on making your organization a safe and trusting place where people can say difficult and uncomfortable things and have healthy conflict with each other, so that they can generate the best solutions to the challenges that the business and the business's customers are facing. So that's number one. Second, and relating to that, is technology. We are, entering a completely different world when it comes to technology. And I don't think we've scratched the surface of how we could be utilizing the human talent of our people. So I'm really encouraging leaders to step back and think about, what are we getting in the way of in terms of the humanity of our people, and how can we really bring their humanity to the forefront, because that is what they uniquely have to offer. And then relating to that is, we are trying to operate our businesses like machines, and we're trying to get machine-like output from our people, and our people are breaking. The levels of emotional intelligence around the world are going down, levels of burnout are going up. We're running, lunchtime yoga, which is really just a sort of sticking plaster over a much more fundamental problem. If your people are struggling with stress, with burnout, if you're getting little flare-ups of conflict, then you have to acknowledge it's not really for individual people to handle that. There's something systemic that is creating that unhealthy environment. And you have to look at, what are our expectations of our human employees? Are they humane? And what can we do to make this a healthy and humane environment, so people can bring that humanity in service of what we're trying to do for our customers and clients? So I would say those are the top three. I hope that audiences feel a sense of confidence, in a way, when they've been to my speeches. What I'm talking about, it's revolutionary in the sense that so many business leaders aren't doing it, but actually it's pretty simple. It's about being a more enlightened person. Anything that those audience members can do that enhances their empathy, that enhances their self-awareness, their ability to connect and communicate with other people, to bring out the best in other people, that's leadership. And I think that we overcomplicate leadership. We try to turn it into a science. It's not a science. It's about authentic human connection with yourself and with other people. And so if people leave one of my speeches feeling a bit reassured that actually all they need to do really is work on themselves as a person, and that will help them be a more impactful leader, then I'm delighted by that. If, practically speaking, they listen a little harder, listen with a willingness to change their mind, if they look at the limits they're putting on their willingness to trust people and just loosen the reins a bit, and if they create an environment where they can bug fix solutions rather than needing solutions to be right first time, then that's the icing on the cake.